Hello, welcome to the Self Learning Podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start discussion on Chapter 5 Doing Sociology Research Methods. And our topic is multiple methods and choice of methods. Since there are multiple truths and multiple perspectives in sociology, it is hardly surprising that there are also multiple methods. There is no single unique road to sociological truth. Of course, different methods are more or less suited to tackle different types of research questions. Moreover, every method has its own strengths and weaknesses. It is thus futile to argue about the superiority or inferiority of different methods. It is more important to ask if the method chosen is the appropriate one or for answering the question that is being asked. For example, if one is interested in finding out whether most Indian families are still joint families, then a census or survey is the best method. However, if one wishes to compare the status of women in joint and nuclear families, then interviews, case studies, or participant observation may all be appropriate methods. There are different ways of classifying or categorizing various methods commonly used by the sociologist. It is conventional, for example, to distinguish between the quantitative and qualitative methods. The former deals in countable or measurable variables, proportions, average, and the like, while the latter deals with more abstract and hard to measure phenomena like attitudes, emotions, and so on. A related distinction is between methods that study observable behavior and those that study non observable meanings, values, and other interpretational things. Another way of classifying methods is to distinguish the ones that rely on secondary or already existing data in the form of documents or other records and artifacts, from those that are designed to produce fresh or primary data. Thus, historical methods typically rely on secondary material found in the archives, while interviews generate primary data and so on. Yet another way of categorization is to separate micro and macro methods. The former are designed to work in small, intimate settings, usually with a single researcher. Thus, the interview and participant observations are thought of as micro methods. Macro methods are those that are able to tackle large scale research involving large numbers of respondents and investigators. Survey research is the most common example of a macro method, although some historical methods can also tackle macro phenomena. Whatever the mode of classification, it is important to remember that is a matter of convention. The dividing line between different kinds of methods need not be very sharp. It is often possible to convert one kind of method into another or to supplement one with another. The choice of method is usually dictated by the nature of the research question being addressed, by the preferences of the researcher, and by the constraints of time and resources. The recent trend in social science is to advocate the use of multiple methods to bear on the same research problem from different vantage points. This is sometimes referred to as triangulation. This is a process of retrieving or pinpointing something from different directions. In this way, different methods can be used to complement each other to produce a much better result than what might have possible with each method by itself. Because the methods most distinctive of sociology are those that are designed to produce primary data. These are the ones stressed here. Even within the category of field work based on methods, we shall introduce you to only the most prominent, namely the survey, interview, and participant observation. Now, let us discuss participant observation. Popular in sociology and especially social anthropology, participant observation refers to a particular method by which a sociologist learns about society, culture, and people that he or she is studying. This method is different from others in many ways. Unlike other methods of primary data collection like survey or interview, fieldwork involves a long period of interaction with the subjects of research. Typically, the sociologist or social anthropologist spends many months, usually about a year or sometimes more, living among the people being studied as one of them. As a non native outsider, the anthropologist is supposed to immerse himself or herself in the culture of the natives by learning their language and participating intimately in their everyday life in an effort to acquire all the explicit and implicit knowledge and skills of the insider. Although the sociologist or anthropologist usually has specific areas of interest, the overall goal of participant observation field work is to learn about the whole way of life of a community. Indeed, the model is that of the child. Sociologists and anthropologists are supposed to learn everything about their adoptive communities in just the holistic way that small children learn about the world. Participant observation is often called field work. The term originated in the natural science, especially those like botany, geology, and geology, etc. In these disciplines, scientists could not only work in the laboratory, they had to go out in the field to learn about their subjects. Now, let us wind up the session and thank you very much for engaging yourself with the Self Learning podcast.